What happened to Lineage 2 after release of Chronicle 5, Oath of Blood? In previous video, I took you through the legendary era of Prelude to Chronicle 5, where you witnessed the terrifying might of Antares, the relentless fury of awakened Bayum, the blazing wrath of Valakas, and the haunting presence of Rinteza laying in wait within the shadowed halls of the Imperial Tomb. But in today's video, we'll experience even further and newer versions of Lineage 2. So get ready to fasten your seatbelt, because in this video we are diving into the epic Interlude Chronicle, a time of colossal dinosaurs and fierce battles. Next, the Kamael Chronicles arrives, introducing a brand new race and thrilling hunting zones, pushing players to their limits. Then comes the Gracia Chronicle parts, where flying ships soared into the skies, bringing fresh and new content to the game. The frozen Freya Chronicle shocked the very foundations of Lineage 2's world, changing everything players thought they knew. And finally, the ultimate High Five era, where the game transformed like never before. You will witness it all right here in this video. Also, don't forget to subscribe, press the like button, follow me on Twitch and socials. Hey guys, what's up? Wing is tuning in once again, and without any further ado, let's dive straight into our Interlude release. The Chaotic Throne expansion was from Interlude to High Five, starting with Interlude. This legendary expansion, known as the Chaotic Throne, a true game changer and one of the most memorable moments in the history of MMORPGs. For many players, it was a breaking point. Personally, my journey began right here, with the Interlude and Kamael versions of Lineage 2. Let's start with the Interlude update, which was released on April 11, 2007 in NA and Europe. This chronicle was top, though some fans did not welcome later updates after Interlude. At this time, NCSoft was gearing up for the largest updates yet, the Kamael expansion. While Interlude itself wasn't huge, it laid important groundwork. One of the biggest additions was Primeval Island, a massive dinosaur-themed island, filled with the feral monsters and elite level XP farming spots, and introducing new skills improvement and changes. Additionally, Interlude featured augmentation system improvements, along with the visual and UI enhancements that made gameplay smoother and more impressive. Though everything was set for Kamael release. The Chaotic Throne 1 and 1.5 updates. The Kamael. Lineage 2 entered a bold new phase with the release of the Kamael Chronicles, which was introduced in December 12 in 2007 in NA and Europe, and was one of the most impactful updates in Lineage 2's history. This update introduced the game's first entirely new playable race, the Kamael, mysterious one-winged warrior class with gender-locked roles and unique combat styles, like male Kamael transforming into Doombringer and female Kamael transforming into Soulhound and Trickster ranged crossbow class. Alongside them arrived the legendary epic dynasty gear S80, armors and weapons that stood proudly above the standard S grade, redefining power of the battlefield. The crafting systems was expanded, demanding rare materials and patience, adding a fresh and thrilling layer to progression. At the same time, the attribute systems deepened both PvP and PvE, making every battle more strategic and intense. The level cap soared from 80 to 85, unlocking devastating new skills and unlocking the path to even greater power. A new hunting ground emerged, the dark and deadly Hellbound Zone. This high-level, forbidding land was crafted as the ultimate endgame, farming and raid areas, where only coordinated parties could survive. Hellbound wasn't just a zone, it was an experience, a shadowy, atmospheric world filled with powerful monsters, fearsome bosses, and new storylines in Lineage 2's history. This era marked a true turning point for Lineage 2. Some audience was actually unhappy with current version of Lineage 2, because they felt that the game was drifting from the classic spirit they once knew. But love it or hate it, there was one undeniable truth. Lineage 2 was still at its full momentum. Servers were crowded, clans rose to new heights of power. The wars were fierce and more brutal as ever. And for me, this was one of the greatest chronicles of them all. Gracia Chronicles. After the harsh, unforgiving wastelands of Hellbound, Lineage 2 took a daring leap forward with the release of the Gracia updates, launching in 2008. It marked a monumental evolution, not just in combat, but in how players moved and explored the world. Gracia introduced the breathtaking mechanics of airships and gliding, granting players the unprecedented ability to soar above the land in select zones. It wasn't a free flight across the entire map, but for Lineage 2, this taste of vertical freedom was revolutionary, opening up a whole new dimensions of adventure and strategies. But movement wasn't the only breakthrough. For the first time ever, instance dungeons entered the fray. The mysterious Kamaloka and Labyrinth of the Abyss offered new experience, rewarding players with huge level experience, and it was designed for advanced parties. New continent and zones. So, Gracia have revealed an entire new continent, the Gracia continent, nestled west of Gludin, reserved for players level 75 and above. This land was more than just a new zone, it was a gateway to epic scale warfare, the legendary Seed of Destruction and Seed of Infinity awaited. Colossal raid zones were only the strongest alliances dared to step. Here, players faced down some of the fiercest monsters ever unleashed, bosses that demanded perfect coordination and relentless teamwork. Items and equipment. The update shattered previous limits with the introduction of S84 grade gear, the first truly epic tier of equipment that pushed player power to new heights. Elemental attribute caps soared to 300 and for weapons 600, adding devastating elemental damage. New legendary sets like Dynasty, Vesper, and Enhanced Camel Plus gear redefined what it meant to be a hero. While the addition of epic cloaks didn't just boost stats, they gave characters an unmistakable new style and presence on the battlefield. At the time, skepticism rippled through the community. Many questioned whether those sweeping changes were a step away from game's roots. But one truth stood unshakable. Lineage 2 was still riding its wave of glory, alive, evolving, and more ambitious than ever. The world was richer, the battles fiercer, and the journey far from over. Freya update. Let's jump into the release of the Freya Chronicle, which launched on February 3rd, 2010, and brought something completely fresh to Lineage 2. Named after the powerful Ice Queen of Freya, this update introduced one of the most iconic raid bosses in the game's history. Freya wasn't just another world boss. She was a towering, frozen force of nature wrapped in a cinematic battle experience. This white-cloaked Winter Queen ruled over one of the strongest raid instances at that time, and her loot was game-changing, offering new top-tier gear that shifted the power balance across servers. But defeating her wasn't just about numbers. It wasn't a Zerg fest. Freya demanded mechanical execution, teamwork, and survival in harsh, freezing areas, filled with deadly ice storms and unique fight phases. For many players, this was their first taste of true raid mechanics in Lineage 2. Also, the final wave of epic items was introduced. Elegia Great Weapons and Armors, the highest tier grade gear ever released in the classic era. Legendary blades like the Imperial Sword, Archangel Sword, and the Eternal Core Dual Swords became the ultimate status symbols. Owning one of those meant you weren't just geared, you were an elite. Players who wore full Elegia sets and wielded those weapons were seen as monsters on the battlefield, feared and respected across entire servers. High Five. So everything was now in place for upcoming Goddess of Destruction expansion. But before that massive shift, one and final chronicle arrived. High Five, which was released on July 7th in 2010. So for many it was the last breath of classical Lineage 2. Content-rich update that refined nearly every aspect of the game. So, High Five surprised players with a complete rework of Dragon Valley and Antares Lair, transforming them into the deadly, atmospheric hunting zones. Those areas weren't just graphical updates. They became the home of 7 brand new raid bosses, lurking in the shadows of those revamped high-risk zones. But the real game changer was an unique one-time quest called the Legendary Tales. To complete it, players had to track down and slay all 7 of those new raid bosses, deep within the corrupted Dragon Valley. The reward? Nothing less than an epic Vesper weapon. A dream prize, especially on low raid servers. At the time, this quest became one of the most challenging quests in the game. Only the strongest and most organized groups stood a chance at claiming it. With the High Five update, City 3, NCSoft reshaped how players progressed and fought. Over 30 new skills were added across various classes, breathing new life into PvP and PvE combat. The Freya and Zakan instances were also revamped for better scaling, improved rewards, and more accessibility group content. On top of that, the update brought a range of UE and gameplay improvements, making the overall experience more responsible and modern. To this day, High Five is widely regarded as the golden standard of old school. It marked the peak of the game's class balance, content variety, and mechanics of the game. But it was the last breath before everything was changed into the Goddess of Destruction. So, for many veteran players, High Five was the last truly playable chronicle in Lineage 2's history. The moment Goddess of Destruction launched, a large portion of the community rejected it immediately. Newer versions stayed too far from what made Lineage 2 great. If you made it all the way to the end, I truly appreciate it. Lineage 2 was something special to all of us. It was one of the best MMORPGs games ever made, but sometimes you just have to let it go. This chapter may be closing, but this journey does not end here. After this chapter, we'll dive into the most epic games we have, and trust me, it will be huge. So if you enjoyed this ride, do me a favor, press the like button, subscribe, follow me on Twitch and stay connected on socials. Until next time, never stop chasing your goals and take care.